Hey everyone, welcome to Horrible Gaming. My name is Nora, and on today's video we are going to be building a castle tower in Palia. I'm also really excited to announce that today's video is a design collaboration with Not So Cozy Gamer on YouTube. I will have their channel linked in the video's description. To start off today's tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to build a curved roof. Please keep in mind that this roof here is going to be too small for the tower that we are building. I'm just trying to show you a general idea on how this type of rooftop can be achieved with the building blocks. So for the rooftop, and we're going to be using a similar method with our castle rooftop too, we're going to be clipping in these angled wooden slope pieces together, kind of like how you're seeing I'm doing right now. You are going to want to make sure that your grid is off for this. That way you can kind of glitch these pieces together, and we're going to form a complete circle with this method. And when we do the actual castle rooftop, we're going to be using a very similar method to this, but instead we're going to be layering with the curved pieces that we're using today. And you'll see how this is done in the footage later on when Britt comes over to help us, but I just wanted y'all to kind of get a general idea on how doing curved rooftops can be achieved with these type of blocks. Now the rooftop that I'm working on right now, I feel like would be great for a gazebo type build, but this one is way too small for the tower we are working on, but I think that there's a lot of great designs that you could do with just the base of this that we're working with. Once you get the slope pieces finished, then we're going to go ahead and start working on filling the center in, and I'm going to be using these squared block pieces, and these are going to help make the center of our rooftop solid. That way you can attach maybe a light fixture inside of your tower, and then once this is all filled in, we can start on the second layer of the slope pieces for the final finishing touch of our rooftop. Now that the base of our rooftop is finished, it's time to do the second layer, which is a little bit more trickier because it's a smaller space and we want this to kind of achieve a pointed sort of effect. So these are going to clip in a little bit more than the first layer does, and then we're just going to repeat the design as needed on each side of our rooftop. Now for the actual castle rooftop that we're doing today, these actually stick out further, kind of giving a tiered layered sort of effect, but I did want to showcase an option that doesn't have the layers in case you want them to be a smooth top on your tower. And now after all the pieces are filled in, this is what our tower rooftop or gazebo rooftop style looks like. I think that this is such a great design for multiple builds, and I hope that this extra tutorial in today's video helped you out. So now it is time to officially start our tower base, and we're going to be creating a octagon shape for it. Since we want this tower to be smaller in dimension, we're going to be clipping two of these bottom floor pieces together, just like you're seeing I'm doing, and I'm going to repeat this process a few times. That way I have enough pieces to create my octagon. After repeating this step, you should have 8 pieces total, so we can use this to create our octagon. Once you have all 8 pieces made, we're going to clip them together just like you're seeing I'm doing right now, and this is going to help us form our small octagon shape. And again, this is going to be the base first level of our tower. If you're struggling with making octagon shapes, my friend Not So Cozy Gamer, who is also appearing in today's video, will have a dedicated tutorial on how to achieve a octagon shape in multiple sizes on his channel, and again, his channel is linked in the video's description. Once I get the base of the tower done, then we'll go ahead and start attaching the walls to it, which honestly is super easy because it'll just snap into place onto the base of our tower. So our tower base is almost done, and the one negative that I do have with the stone pieces is the fact that they kind of glitch a little bit with the textures. As you can see, it's doing that on my screen. I did notice though, when you do an octagon shape with the wood pieces, they don't have a texture glitch issue like this. So if it does bother you, you could swap to a wooden tower instead, but obviously because I'm doing a more castle core approach, I want to use these stone pieces. But what I do to kind of like hide the glitches is by using items and rugs, and you'll see that later in the video. But I did want to throw that out there. If this is going to bother you, you may want to do maybe a different shape for your castle tower. But honestly, for me personally, I think that the octagon design is worth it for design purposes, so I'm not bothered by the glitching textures whatsoever. The next stage of our tower is doing the side pieces, and this is so easy. You're just going to be snapping it into place on each corner just like I'm doing right now. If for whatever reason you notice that on the corners there's an empty gap, kind of like what you're seeing right now, just turn off your grid and manually place the piece into the spot that you want it to be at, and then that'll fix the issue. After placing all the side pieces, this is what our tower should start to look like, and I'm going to probably make this about 4 levels high just because me and Brick are planning to expand this build in a future stream, and I'm wanting to do an actual castle with it. So I wanted to focus on the tower only today just because that's obviously a lot for a speed build. But if you're interested in seeing the progression on turning this into an actual castle, stay tuned for that live stream coming up on my channel. For the next stage of our tower, I removed 2 of the pieces on the sides, and this is going to serve as the door frame to our tower, and then I'm going to continue adding layers so I can give my tower some height. The goal for the door frame is going to be kind of like a curved arch effect with a bunch of florals kind of growing on it. And after I built my curved archway, I noticed I was having some trouble adding flowers onto it, and this is actually when Brick came into the video for today's speed build, because I could not get the flowers to clip onto them whatsoever. It's actually really finicky and kind of hard to do, but he was able to layer several flowers for me. So together we were able to kind of create this overgrown, more witchy approach to the flower arch that has been trending all over the Palia community. I also wanted to add too, if you want an in-depth tutorial on how to create curved arches, I will have a video linked for you in the description. This tutorial was extremely helpful, and if it wasn't for this video, I don't think I would know how to create a curved arch for my build today. So just like in the beginning of this video when I taught y'all how to do a curved rooftop, we're going to be doing a similar thing on the top of our tower build today. And the reason why we're actually building it on the tower is because originally going into this video at the very beginning where you see me building that rooftop, I noticed that after building my tower it would not fit because the tower was much bigger in size. And it was at this stage of my video, because I was building for about 3 hours now, where I was starting to kind of get defeated. I didn't think that my vision was gonna happen, but Brick came up with an idea of, instead of doing a circle shaped rooftop, we would go for a more octagon shaped instead, which honestly makes sense because the base of this is an octagon shape anyways. But I was really hoping the circle roof could have worked out because I feel like that would have looked so much like a castle tower. However, this last minute design change really shocked me and taught me to trust the build process, because not only did this roof look more realistic, but it added so much more dimension than I ever could have imagined. So to finish off our tower rooftop, Brick is going to be following the same method we used in the beginning of my video, but again doing a more octagon shaped and then adding some additional layers to it. So as you can see, we took the rooftop off of the tower so we could finish it up. And the reason why we were building onto the tower too is to make sure we got the exact shape of the tower so it would actually fit the build itself. And just like the beginning of my video where I show you how to make a rooftop kind of like this, we're going to fill in the center with all these blocks in there just so it's completely solid. And this is also going to help us add the last 2 layers to our rooftop. So now that we have the first part of our roof filled in, we're going to go ahead and start on the second layer. And as you can see, brick is overlapping this second layer, so it kind of gives it a tiered effect. With my roof, I didn't have it overlapping like this, so if you prefer the smooth look, you can totally do it that way, but we just thought that this way added so much more texture and realism. And now that our roof is done, we're going to go ahead and start focusing on the interior of my castle tower, and that is by creating these spiral steps that go up the walls inside. These steps were inspired by another creator on Twitter. I don't know how to pronounce their username, so I'm just going to go ahead and link them in the description just so they get the full credit for this addition to my tower. But I really liked how they created this staircase using these items. It was just the most realistic and also functional for my build. So we will be recreating their design in here and creating these curved staircases that connect to 3 different levels. Now the staircase took me about 2.5 hours to make, so there will be a few transitions while I make this, but we're going to rotate between the cutting boards and the pavers just like we did with the stone staircase and the wooden staircase that I made on my modern tea house. While you create the stairs for this build, make sure that each level stops at the connection between each of the walls that we built earlier. That way your flooring pieces can snap right into the walls without you having to manually do them. There will be a couple of transitions through the remaining parts of this video, but my plan is to continue working on the staircases and each level in between them, and then we'll do a final walkthrough of how I decorated the entire tower. After finishing up my 3 layers of staircases, it is time to do the final walkthrough of today's speed build. For the doorway to my castle tower, I decided on a curved arch effect with a bunch of flowers on it. My friend Brick will have a tutorial on the same exact arch on his channel, which will be linked in the video's description. I was planning to have the archway in today's video, but all of my footage was really blurry and just not good quality, so Brick will have a tutorial on how to create this exact archway on his channel by tonight. But here is how I decorated the witchy tower, and I hope it brings you some inspiration on how you can decorate the build today. Believe it or not, but this build is actually not fully decorated yet. I'm still grinding some items for it. I really want to add more of the blue candles onto the staircase, and you can get these by completing a quest with Hodari, so make sure you're progressing his friendship. But as we do our walkthrough today and before today's video ends, I do want to give a huge shout out to all of my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me as a creator. Just your support in general means the world to me. I hope that today's tutorial helped you out. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below and future build ideas you hope to see on my channel. With that being said, thank you so much for watching and have a horrible day. I'll see you next video.